This is absolutely not the time to be bearish, guys. Welcome to Empire Trading Academy. Hit the like, hit the subscribe if you have not already, and let's get into this. Guys, first and foremost, we're going to be looking at the 2-hour chart for the technicals, all right? We've done up this Wyckoff accumulation pattern based on Wyckoff's model. I can go ahead and give you that really quickly. All right, so if we go ahead and show you that model, go down here, and this is basically, so this is schematic one. Schematic one is going to have this spring, which is basically just this squeeze below support before we come back up into this trading range. Okay, and this is what we've seen on Bitcoin in the past few days. All right, or we'll call it 2 weeks. All right, so we have this preliminary support here, okay, after our initial markdown or our sell-off, okay, and this is what sets our resistance for once we flip it. Okay, we have our selling climax. Some people might say that it might be this wick. According to the structure that has been produced, this, I'm not going to call this the selling climax. If we do happen to go ahead and retrace these lows to come back down to this wick, that would completely negate this Wyckoff pattern, and we would look at for a different structure to emerge. Okay, so selling climax. We basically make support here. Okay, we have our automatic rally. We have our secondary test, and we go ahead and we test our preliminary support that we first had as support, flipped resistance, and now we're testing that again here. Okay, we have our secondary test in phase B. We go ahead and we trace down. Okay, and in my opinion, this most likely was the spring if this pattern continues. Okay, and so we squeeze below that support. We have a buying or a rally off of that. We've had another test. Okay, and so if this pattern does continue, we'll go ahead and retrace up this trading range. Okay, last point of support here, sign of strength where we accumulate. We have a bunch of buying and selling here at resistance or just above resistance. And then we go ahead and we have our markup there. Okay, very similar. Pause it if you need to, just to go ahead and compare. Okay. So this from a Wyckoff perspective is looking very good. We do have bullish divergence on the RSI. All right, go ahead and get out of that. So we do have bullish divergence on the RSI. Okay, tweak this a little bit just so you can see it a little better. Okay, in this structure, bullish divergence on the RSI. Okay, and so we do have that. Now, there are other structures that could be forming here as well, in my opinion, all bullish. Okay, so Wyckoff accumulation, that's a more complex reversal pattern. Okay, we had that sell-off reversal pattern, and then we go ahead and see markup or upside. Okay, we could also be having this falling wedge or downward trend, this ranging downward trend. Okay, which we know a falling wedge, that's going to be a bullish reversal pattern. Okay, where we basically have these lows, right? We have these lows that are forming, but at a less steep degree of the highs. Okay, so we have lower highs and lower lows, but the lower highs are steeper than the lows, and so the selling is becoming less and less in these structures, and so these normally break to the upside. And again, we have these lower highs, lower lows, right, with bullish divergence on the RSI. Okay, go to the 4-hour, and we have this big bullish divergence on the RSI. Okay, we're also holding big support levels. Okay, one of the big things that I want to point out, guys, is just kind of structurally, if you've been following our social media accounts, right, and our channel here, you'll know that we are increasingly believing or seeing that this is just a restart of this bull run. Okay, we have these similar distribution tops here out of a trough or out of this big valley of sell-off. Okay, we had this big sell-off here right from the top at 64, and then we kind of have these, we work our way up. We have these two distribution tops here, and we have very similar things here. Big sell-off here, two distribution tops. Okay, before we go ahead and continue the main part of this bull run. Now we go ahead and we draw this trend line, guys. Okay, if we have with this initial correction from the top of the last bull market in 2017, correction bottom, we start our trend line. Okay, we have an impulse move up, and we basically have a squeeze underneath support and 2 tests of this support before we start up. Okay, and if you look here, we have a very similar structure forming. Okay, we have a correction off of an impulse move. We have an impulse move off of that. Okay, so that's our first test here. We have a correction below support, impulse move up, first test, second test with 2 distribution tops, distribution top test, distribution top test, and we go ahead and we make our way up. Okay, so that could possibly be forming as well. Now, one of the reasons, guys, why every bull cycle in Bitcoin is continuing to lengthen. Okay, and so we're still in that lengthening period, perfectly fine. All right, to continue this bull market, but more importantly, guys, we have the technicals that are still holding support. Okay, technicals are not going to say, hey, yes, we're still in a bull market, right? They're gonna let us know that we're in a bull market or bear market based on confirmations, right? If we start to see higher highs and higher lows off of this structure, then yes, we can confirm that we're in a bull market. But that's the power of on-chain, guys. Okay, so let's head over to on-chain. Few things here. Okay, so basic ones. Okay, exchange net position change, how much of Bitcoin supply is going on or off exchanges. Okay, and you'll see here we're net negative again. Coins are coming off of exchanges, increasing rate, continuing to add to that supply squeeze. Okay, this supply squeeze that's consistently been building, guys, that we've been talking about, is in my opinion what is going to create, push, and enable this the majority of the rest of this bull run. Okay, so coins continuing to come off the exchanges, that's extremely bullish. Okay, if we look at our bigger guys, 10,000. Okay, really no buying or selling. We're kind of just accumulating in this range. But most importantly, these guys are not selling. Okay, if we look at our distribution top here, they were selling long before we got to the top, right? Selling, 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 selling. We're not even at the top. Selling, 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 and we're at the top now, right? They've already established this big support level when we were at the top. Okay. And so here they've been actually accumulating since this point in October. Okay. And so they have not been selling during this time, right? Let's also keep in mind, guys, that whales, right, our biggest players, they're selling into strength. Okay. If they go ahead and start selling now, they are selling into weakness. Okay, when we go ahead and we push past this previous high or all-time high, this could be a possible time that they start selling, but that would not be a time to freak out either, because you see they start selling. This was at this little consolidation here in the first, basically the first half of this bull run, right, in midway. And so we still had all this room to go. Okay, and so that's just marks kind of the beginning of the end, similar to long-term holders. Now, usually we save the T3 metrics, guys, for our T3 metrics private group. Go check that out at empiretradingacademy.com. Give you all updates on the T3 metrics. But I'm going to go ahead and show you one right here. Okay, this is our HODL or net position change. These guys are holding Bitcoin long-term, okay? And you see, similar to whales, similar to long-term holders, these guys are going to be selling into strength. They're not trying to top out tops and bottoms, right? And so you see back here in the beginning, they're starting to sell once they make it past a previous high, okay? Similar to what whales would do. Now, we still saw all of this run. Now, again, that kind of confirms what we've been saying. Just another confluence to that is this cycle. We just talked about the price action here compared to here, right? And what do we see? They were accumulating during this entire time. Okay, now during this, what are they doing? They're accumulating still. Okay, a few days where it was net negative, right? Okay, they're taking, after this initial impulse move, they're taking some coins off the table, but generally over, and then more recently, they're continuing to accumulate. Okay, this is in no way a bearish indication, right? And so they're continuing to accumulate. This is big. Again, guys, if you want multiple updates a week on these T3 metrics, the most powerful and deepest level of on-chain data that you can get, so you do not have to pay $10,000 a year to access this info. You can go ahead, pay just a small fee, monthly fee, subscription fee, and we give you multiple updates a week on those. Okay, these are amazing. We go over liquid supply change, liquid supply, long-term holders, short-term to long-term realized value, transfer volume at a loss. This is a massive metric that's giving us basically bottoms of bear markets and tops of bull markets. And so really powerful. But so those are just a few. And lastly, guys, we're going to go over open interest, because more short term, this is what we want to be looking at. And if we're looking at our futures open interest, okay, this is our non-perpetual. So these are going to be expiring. But if you look, these open interest positions get way overextended in our impulse moves. Okay, so top at 64 the first time, big increase in this metric. Okay, and then we saw this big sell-off, cleaned out all that leverage. And we came back down here. Increase in this metric in leverage as well as when we saw that in price action, and we clean that out on the correction. Okay, big increase in this metric, clean that out in the correction, and we're back down here. Now, if we look at our perpetuals funding rate, okay, sorry, open interest on perpetuals. Okay, we're basically at similar level, and perpetual just means that these are non-expiring. Okay, these are specific for Bitcoin. We have very similar levels here to where we did here on our correction. Okay, but a higher price point. Okay, and so we've cleaned that out very nicely. You know, on the step down before this. Okay, when we were just hovering around 53,000. We saw that it did clean out a little bit. We did decrease, but it was not a full clean out. Okay, and so this is looking very good as well. Continuing to hold this, we'll continue to watch this, guys. All right, this structure right here, we want to see if we continue to the downside. We'll see a breakdown of this area below 45. Okay, but if the bulls can take over, and if we can follow our pattern, which is based on just a time, just a true time-tested model from Wyckoff, we're following this pretty closely. So we'll see, and this is just based on trader psychology as well as big players moving the market. Okay, and we've seen that big time in these crypto markets the last year. All right, so we'll continue to monitor that, guys. Again, hit the like, hit the subscribe, and big, massive news before we go, guys. We just dropped our on-chain analytics course, so you can understand exactly how and what and why we're looking at on-chain, giving you the full tools of exactly how to use on-chain metrics in order to guide your trading. Okay, that's just dropped and launched on empiretradingacademy.com. Go check that out, guys. Let me know if you have any questions at all. You can email us or message us, and we'll see you in the next video.